Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Innocent once again and welcome to today's class. We'll be talking about JavaScript functions. Functions are objects in JavaScript that helps us to reuse code. So if we have a code we want to reuse again and again, it's best to put that code inside a function so we can easily call that function, thereby we can easily reuse the code. So how do we write a function? First, simple function, write by first calling the keyword function, after which we give the function our name. I'll call this function total, then our curved brackets, after that our curly brackets. So we'll close, save. So the function has two main parts, the curved bracket and the curly bracket. The curved bracket serves as place where we put our parameter. We could pass some arguments into our function by placing our parameter in the curved bracket, whereas the curly bracket holds the code which we want to reuse again. For example, let's console.log string total, Ctrl S. So this is a simple example. If we want to call the code, we want to call this function in order to exploit the code which we put, which is to log in total on our console, we just need to call the function like this: total, name of our function, and this, Ctrl S. Oh, sorry. Ctrl S, save. So we can, let's preview. So let's preview. As we can see, we were able to log on the string total on the console when we called the function. We called the function like this. So it's called whatever code, it activated whatever code that was inside the curly brackets, which is to log on total on the console. Okay, let's write another code. Let's talk about parameters and arguments. So let's write, using our ternary operator, let's write a code to check age. Let's call it age check equals age less than age less than 18, ternary operator, you are too young. Okay, I will have to zoom out. So here is our ternary operator which checks the age. Let age be equals to age checker. Check if the age is less than 18, it should print you are too young, and if the age is greater than 18, which it should print you are old enough. So let's create a variable and call it age. Let age equals, let's give age 12. Let's save and let us print age checker. Let's console.log the age check. So you are too young. As you can see, by the time we logged the age check on the console, it gave us we are too young because the variable, the age of the age stored in the variable is 12, which is less than 18. Remember, the ternary operator is used in place of if and else statements. So as we did here, if it's less than 18, if this is true, it prints the truthy value. You are too young. But if it's false, it's going to print the falsy value. So if we make this 121, Control S, it's going to print log on, you are old enough. So now let's put this code in a function. So let's call the function age checker. Create a function. Curly brackets. So we'll close the curly brackets here. Control S. So we've hidden this code in a function. So we can just call this function, or let's console.log the function age checker. Please take note, we are logging the function age checker, not the variable age check. We are logging the function age checker, not the variable age check. Let's see what it gives us. So by the time we log the function on the console, it gives us undefined, and that's because we are unable to pass this age 121 into this code for this code to read, inside the function for this code to read. So how do we pass this age into the code into the function for the code to read it? We do that through our parameters, passing in value into the function. So let's pass this value into this function by passing an argument in the curved bracket. Let's put in 121 and we'll create a parameter for it. We'll call it age. So we talked about arguments and parameters. Now the value which we want to pass into the function for it to run, for the code to run through, is called the argument, and we use a parameter, which our parameter for this particular function is age, to pass that value. So we can delete this, Control S. Now let us return age checker. And save. So let's see what it gives us now. You are old enough. You see, it gives us our actual value. So what happens here is that we passed in 121 into the function here, and the age check, the code for age checking runs it to check if it's less than 18, and it discovers that it's greater than 18, so it's false. The truthy value, once it's greater than 18, that means it's false. It skips the truthy value and displays the falsy value. So we return age checker. The falsy value is stored in the age check, and we return the age check. Now by the time we console.log the age checker, that's the function, it gives us the returned value for age check, as can be seen here. You are old enough. We can also create another function and call the age checker function inside that function. Let's call the new function. Let's create another function, print. We called it print. So we are going to call the the age checker inside this function. Age checker. So we've called this age checker inside this function. Now we are going to put the console.log inside our new function. Control V, Control S. So now for us to print, all we just need to do is to call the new function. So if we call, okay, let's preview. As you can see, the "you are too old" or "you are young enough" is not displaying because it's now inside a function. In order for us to make it display, we'll have to call that function. So let's call the new function print. We called the print function, so it's now going to trigger the code inside it to display. Remember, the code to check if for the age is inside another function, age checker. So after checking, we called the age checker function inside a new function, the print function, and we wrote another code to print the age checker on the console inside the new print function. So by the time we call the print function, it automatically triggers the console.log age checker, which also holds the decision to print whether you are too young or you are old enough. So let's see the results. You are old enough. So we can pass a new age. Let's call this age. Let's give it 12. Control S. In the age checker, we are going to pass this argument now into the age check function, which is this function here, and it's going to go inside the code and check if the age is less than 18 to print either "you are too young," and in this case it's going to be true, so it's going to print the first value, the truthy value, which is "you are too young." So let's see what it gives us. "You are too young," as you can see. Okay, and let's make another example. Let's create a function to add numbers. Let's call this function add, and let's put in two parameters. Let's call our parameters AB. Let's put our return Control S. So we created another function. We'll call the function add, and we have two parameters A and B, and inside the function we wrote a code to return A plus B. So now let's use this function to create an instance. Let's create something using this function. Let's call it addition. So we created an addition instance of the function. So let's console.log so what we did here, first of all, we created a function called add and we put in the parameters A and B. We are going to use these parameters to create instances of this particular function. We are using it to construct instances of this particular function. So inside the function we have the return value for A plus B. So the first instance is we called it addition, and the first instance gives the argument 4 and 5. See, we called the function add and put in our arguments inside 4 and 5. So by the time we console.log addition, let's see, it's going to pass these arguments into It's going to pass these arguments, the 4 and 5 arguments, into the parameter and enable the code inside to run through it. So let's see what it gives us. Control S. So we're expecting a 9. As you can see, we have a 9 here. And finally, it's important to mention that whatsoever variable we declare inside a function, for example, the let age check declared inside a function, is only usable inside this function. We cannot make use of this variable, the age check variable, outside the function because it's limited within the function. It's called scope. I went through the code and noticed that I made some mistakes by not imputing a semicolon to close each line of code that was written. So I have to do that immediately. So semicolon, semicolon, and semicolon. So that's it. Thank you.